account for what I really think. Being in the space, I learned to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? That's it. Are you a believer till the end? When your funds are low, can you believe in it again? No longer ever questioning yourself if you believe it though. You never questioning yourself if you believe it though. Now there's one thing about the future, you should know that you deserve it all. Landing on the moon, take a belief that's going vertical. Being in the space, I learned to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? Made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though. Yeah, made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though. Yeah. Now I got the drive, now I got the drive. I believe inside, I believe inside. I believe inside, I believe inside. I want to see hands up in the sky. Family by my side, I believe inside. Now I got the drive, now I got the drive. I believe inside, I believe inside. I believe inside, I believe inside. With my family by my side, I believe inside. Now I got the drive, now I got the drive. I believe inside, I believe inside. Family by my side, I believe inside. With my family by my side, I won't be around.
Since the creation of the internet, every industry has been turned upside down. Amazon changed retail. Uber changed transportation. YouTube changed video forever. With the invention of crypto, money is next. At the speed technology is growing, the future of money and securities are digital. 9 out of 10 millennials do not trust banks. The value of money relies on trust. Government debt is higher than it's ever been before. Central banks continue to print money. Fortunately, the world has a new solution. Experts predict in 7 years, 10% of the world's economy will be in crypto-based assets. Today, 1 billion people have access to the financial industry. Crypto is about empowering the other 6 billion people by banking the unbanked. Do not underestimate this. Do you wish you invested in Google, Amazon, or Netflix before anyone ever knew about them? $1,000 invested in Netflix turned to over $500,000. At Tokenomics, we help you find the next Netflix. Tokenomics users think differently about investing. They are early adopters looking for financial freedom. They are people who see a better world. A world without international borders. We believe in a world where everyone has access to the next financial revolution. At Tokenomics, we are creating a bridge that gets you to that revolution. We will help you make sound investments in this new world. The world's best investors do not rely on their intuition. They embrace technology and AI to invest. Tokenomics uses AI to find invisible patterns in data to help you invest and trade in crypto. In the past, we have used our data-driven system to achieve financial freedom. Now, we are giving you the keys. We created Tokenomics to be the only platform you'll ever need to make money in crypto. We give you AI and access to crypto experts at the best price. The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond.
Disclaimer. Tokenomics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Tokenomics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenomics.com/disclosures.
All right. Happy Sunday, everybody. Great to be back. It was a great Bitcoin 2021 conference experience. We know lots of you missed us. Don't worry, we're back here. We have Bill, we have Forrest. We're here for a crypto family. I hope you all have been doing well through this tough times. But we know we're all believers. We're here in crypto. We're long-term value investors. Bill, Forrest, how are you guys making it?
We're doing okay.
Well, yeah,
Thanks for having us.
All right. Great to be back. Okay, so first of all, let's bring up the screen, our producer. We do have our Menti code for those who want to post questions, because we know there are lots of questions in the last week or so since we were away for the conference. So go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 32350368. That's 32350368. And post your questions. And as usual, make sure to follow us on social media at Tokenomics Inc. on Twitter, at Tokenomics on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and our podcast, tokenomics.com/podcast. And as usual, if you missed us, no worries. We've been here actually daily, pretty much, well, at least Bill and Forrest and myself every week on Tokenomics TV. This is why we made Tokenomics TV. So if you can't get enough of us on YouTube, no worries. If you're a customer, you can get us daily, 7 days a week on Tokenomics TV. Just go to tv.tokenomics.com and log in with your Tokenomics account. And we've taken all your feedback. We know the current early access, there was some bugs and some issues and snafus with the current vendor we had for TMTV. So we're in the process of migrating to a new vendor. Definitely pricier price tag, but thanks to you, our customers, we want to make sure we give you the best service. And this new, more expensive vendor also has the option to play our videos at 2x speed, which is something lots of our customers have been asking for. So no worries. We're trying to make sure you have as much value as possible through this correction, through this downturn, because being honest, I mean, the last 1 month or so in crypto has been pretty chaotic. But no worries, we're all here. We're here long-term in crypto to help take all of us to the moon and beyond, and most important of all, to help empower you and gain financial freedom. So with that being said, the title for today's stream is Bitcoin Rally or Bust? Inflation, El Salvador's BTC adoption, MicroStrategy, and more. So we're here to help you answer those questions. I mean, Bitcoin, for the first time now, even though Japan technically kind of had this, but for the first time now, has become an official legal tender globally. What does that mean for your portfolio? Is that something good? What if you have no Bitcoin like us or me and Forrest, right? What do you do? So we'll go through that as usual. And as usual, this is being brought to you by Tokenomics.com. We do have a coupon code we emailed out to our customers for the conference. So if you check your email, you should have a code, whether your plan is coming up or due, or whether or not it is about to expire or it's new. I'm seeing some people saying there's some lag with the video. I'm not sure if that's on my end or if that's on your end. If anybody else is having lag, please let us know. On the video I'm watching here on YouTube on my monitor, it seems to be no lag. So if you're not watching this on YouTube, we recommend you go watch this on YouTube, on youtube.com/Tokenomics. I'm not sure if you're on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever.
But anyway, being brought to you by Tokenomics. So we did email out a coupon code to our customers because we like you. All right. So on the agenda, we'll have the market update. We'll have question of the day. We'll have thought of the week, crypto showdown. We'll have Forrest as well with his great analysis. Then we'll take a question from the forum. Then we'll do the typical AMA. All right. So for those who missed it, we've been putting out lots of content in our absence on TMTV. Bill put out 5 episodes. Forrest had a video on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Definitely go check that out. We had a hidden gems video with Forrest. Quant Insights with Jad on option strategies, how to hedge your portfolio during a crash or correction. Then Crypto Roundup with Dylan on El Salvador's BTC adoption. And then Bill had his very special crypto happy hour in Miami. Definitely one for the ages. So I highly suggest you go check that out. And then we also had a crypto hot seat with Dylan, where he talked about an NFT movie. So definitely go check that out. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's take it away to Bill with the market update.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This is Bill Noble, and this is your market update. So how bad did you feel this weekend? Bad. Could that be a sign of a bottom? Listeners and viewers of this show have heard me talk about the idea that when you have a lampshade on your head and you're dancing, sell. This could be the opposite, where the price action was so horrendous and it was so depressing that it could have been a buy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss a more positive short-term scenario, and then I'll let Forrest discuss an alternative. So let's start with Bitcoin dominance. Simply put, it's too low, right? Bitcoin dominance got above 44%. It seems to be holding there as support. Bitcoin dominance most likely should probably be around 50. So that means once Bitcoin stops going down, it's got a lot of upside, a lot. Now, my guess short term, goes like this. The only diagonal pattern that consistently works in crypto is the bullish downward sloping wedge. I saw this in Kusama at 21. In Bitcoin, it looks like we've got one of these wedges. It looks like when they took out 38K, there was a breakout. There may be a retest of 38K, but it looks to me like 45K is the next target, okay? Frequently, the market will travel the width of the formation from the point of the breakout. I know, that's complicated. The bottom line is Bitcoin has a legit shot at 45K. Now, this is classic Tokenomics teamwork. I got an email or a Telegram message discussing how the current environment was similar to what was happening when Bitcoin was at 13K. So on the left side, you'll see Bitcoin rallied up to 13K. Okay. This was back when Bitcoin moved from 13K back down to 9. Now, if you look at the bottom, Bitcoin made a base, looked really ugly, rallied like it could now, made one final ugly attempt to take out the lows, and then it exploded. So if you go to the bottom right-hand corner, I recreated this. You can see the same distribution pattern we had up at 64K looked like the one we had at 12K. Okay, we hammered and we made this base and made everyone just created all this fear. 48K is resistance, up to 48K, down on July 4th. Because they love to smash this market on American holidays. And then if it holds, then it could go higher. Now, I know that was a lot, so I'm going to give you the plot that our analysts gave us. The black is what's going on currently, and the gray was the plot of what happened back when Bitcoin peaked at 13K, went to 9, and then rallied. As you can see, it took about 2 months for Bitcoin to complete the consolidation phase, which included the rally and the nasty dip. and then potentially it could go much higher. ETH. Yes, I did not forget about it. ETH likes to make these consolidation formations that last for anywhere from 20 to 30 days. Right now, ETH is on day 27 of its little box. So ETH likes to make these boxes, and then they like to do it like a 2-week sprint. ETH is holding 2250, and for all the gymnastics that's going on in the rest of the market, ETH actually holds really well. So if the market gets smashed again, I don't think they got enough juice to take ETH below, say, 2100. And 2250 is a GAN support point that's holding like a champ. Okay, now let's just look at some of these DeFi coins to just get a picture of the carnage. These diagonal formations, I just said that these downward sloping formations work. Well, not in sushi. They took it below the bottom line of this pattern, and it looks like a liquidity event, right? In other words, when sushi just goes down, 6 out of 7 days, basically what's happening is everyone probably at the smaller level is giving up, and people, larger players, are taking advantage of what a perceived technical breakdown looks like to just siphon it all up. Okay, Chainlink. Now, Chainlink is a big coin, and it looks like Chainlink had what I would call a liquidity event by falling below $23.21. Now, Chainlink has to get back above that level in order for it to be good, but I'm noticing a pattern where they took these DeFi coins and they just washed them out. So I'm hoping that on this washout, bigger players were down there, okay, absorbing the supply. All right, Dash. I was on this for a while, took profits at 400, and now it's back at 160, which was a prior high from earlier in the year. Folks, I just can't get bearish on Dash. I mean, if Central America and El Salvador is accepting Bitcoin, we're in an inflationary environment, and Dash is actively used by American fast food companies to both accept it as payment and pay their employees. What is Dash doing at $160? Right? I mean, if Bitcoin can go to 70K, Dash can go to 1,200. So not investment advice, but I just have a really hard time understanding why Dash has been, left on the side of the road. Now, Aave, back to DeFi. Aave is 120 days from its inception, so today seems like a big day. They have absolutely crushed this. This coin was at 660 and is now at 300. So half off sale in the biggest DeFi coin. To really put in perspective what has happened to alts, I like the chart of AVAX. AVAX went to 60. At 40, it looks like it was going to go to 80. Instead, it turned around, it went to 20, and now it's sitting at 14 below a GAN line, again, pushed out of a moving car. Why has DeFi been destroyed? Like, why do people think DeFi is irrelevant? Why is everyone down on Bitcoin? We've gone to some extreme where we've gone from the lampshade on our head to total depression, and it doesn't make any sense. The only question remaining is there going to be a full washout before the next move higher? Okay, Matic. Now, I know this is a really busy chart. I'm experimenting with new GAN work. I mean, there's a lot of support in Matic at $1.38, okay? And if Matic is above $1.38, you have to watch out that this thing doesn't just turn around and lead the market higher. One of the things that people forget about 2017 is that, Bitcoin did very well, but, ETH went from $10 to 1,000. Now, I don't think Matic's going to 1,000, but clearly this coin has held up. So the number of people that could chase in this is much higher. okay, because of how well it's held up. And if it starts to accelerate, fear of missing out could kick in. So in sum, crypto looks like it wants to do better. If crypto gets slammed, I think Michael Saylor and friends will be down there. But at the end of the day, you can't let this get you down, right? It's either going to end now or it's going to end with a bang on the downside. Forrest will cover that. But you just got to remember why you're in crypto and try to stay strong. And that's the market update.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So if you enjoyed that market update, be sure to check it out every single day, Monday through Friday at Tokenomics TV by going to tv.tokenomics.com, and be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and put on alerts on YouTube. All right, so let's see what people have to say here in the comment. Okay, lots of people missed us. Okay, the lag issue seems to have been resolved. We're doing good, everybody. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Queen Harry says this is the best time to invest. Xenobot Designer says never all in on one crypto. Absolutely, definitely diversify your portfolio. Super chat. Unfortunately, we aren't really doing projects right now at the moment. Keeping this to the market update. Okay, let's segue straight to Forrest. Go ahead, Forrest. Okay, we can't hear you, Forrest. You're on mute.
Can you guys hear and see now?
Yes, yeah.
There we go. All right, so you take a look at my chart here. I'm looking at Bitcoin in the long term, right? And why I want to look at Bitcoin, and I want to take a moment to prepare ourselves for a potential worst case scenario strategy, right? If you don't take time to actually carve out what could happen if things go poorly, then you leave yourself exposed. So I want to preface this with, I agree with Bill. I'm quite bullish, right? But if we don't prepare for bad things to happen, then we can be in a very vulnerable position, and we need to make sure that we're taking into account what if Bitcoin goes lower? What would that look like, and how do we prepare? So right now I'm looking at Bitcoin on the macro level, and I've got my logarithmic regression bands here going. I've got green, yellow, and red. Anything over red is a bubble by my standards, right? You can actually draw these bubbles out, and you can see we're really no longer in a bubble, right? We're actually holding support. If I zoom in here and I go to the daily chart, we're actually holding support exactly on this regression band. So we're kind of fair value Bitcoin for a bull market, right? Fair value Bitcoin for a bull market. Now, if you watch Tokenomics TV, you know that I believe that we are going to see Bitcoin rally and retest this downtrend line. And I've got two lines here. I've got this pink dashed line. That is our head and shoulders neckline, right? That's our head and shoulders neckline from the head and shoulders that we saw that put us in this predicament in the first place. But I also want to draw your attention to another head and shoulders that is potentially developing on a larger term time frame that could be a bearish sign, right? And that's this one, right? And I'm drawing it kind of sloppily here, but we've already gone up and technically kind of retested this level, right? This would be our head, our shoulder, and our shoulder. Now, personally, I think it would make a little bit more sense if we saw a larger shoulder on the right-hand side, right? I don't think this is big enough. I think what we do want to be careful is if we see a retest, right? If we see a retest and we get rejected and then come down, where would that drive us? How low would that drive us? Would that take us down to 20 to 24K? And I think we'll take it one step at a time, and we'll have to, maybe we pass the retest. Maybe we pass the retest, right? But I do think it's possible for Bitcoin to go lower. I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but I want to prepare for it, right? So what would that actually look like? Well, I think there's two key levels of support laying below us. Obviously, one of them is 19.7K, or let's call it 20K. That's our previous all-time high that extends all the way back here, right? We also kind of have this long-term trend line this blue long-term trend line that was actually resistance here. It was support on our initial 53% correction back in 2017. It was resistance here, and we actually have not come back down to find support on it. Now, if we did crash lower, I think we would get a V-shaped recovery, right? A flash crash and a V-shaped recovery off of this line, probably at around $24,000 to $25,000. If we did go lower, maybe just a wick down to 20K, guys. I'm not bearish here. I just want to prepare for this bearish scenario if it does occur, right? The other thing that I want to draw your attention to is the actual pattern of collapse that we saw in 2017 and how similar it is to what we're seeing right now. So we initially had our 53% correction after our all-time high in 2017, followed by our lower low. We spilled off 23 or 53% down to that wick right there. 53%, and then we had a period of consolidation, and then we saw another V-shaped flash crash, right? I'm going to outline this just so you guys see what I'm talking about. A V-shaped flash crash where we actually went down a total of 70%. It was about 69.5, 70% to the bottom of this wick. That took us down to about $6,000 before we saw this V-shaped recovery to our retest, right? To our retest, which we failed at around $11.5, $12,000. Now let's go over to where we're at right now so I can show you how similar it is, right? We made our lower low, right? We had our all-time high, $64,854, I believe. We had our lower low, and then we spilled off, guess what? 53% actually. So if I take it from the all-time high, 53% correction. Now we're consolidating, right? And if we do what we did back in 2017, which I don't think we have to do, but I think we certainly could, we would see a V-shaped flash crash, potentially down to 24, 25, or even down to 20. Now, if we saw that flash crash take us to a 70% correction, it would take us 69, 70%, almost exactly to 20K. Almost exactly to 20K. So that's the case for a flash crash trip, Bitcoin trip down to 20K, right? Do I think it's going to happen? No. Am I prepared for it? Yes. I've got cash on the side. And if we do see this flash crash down to 20K, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm buying. I'm buying at 20 to 24K. And I'm personally, I'm probably buying on leverage, right? Because I believe that we would just see a flash crash V-shaped recovery and it would take us into our retest, right? Now, if you watch Tokenomics TV, you know my plans for the retest is probably to sell, unlock some capital, and then rebuy if we confirm on the other side, or rebuy lower, right? But you can catch that episode on Tokenomics TV. One more chart, not Bitcoin, total cryptocurrency market cap. Usually, total cryptocurrency market cap, as it moves up, it comes back down and corrects to previous resistance, right? We never came back down and corrected to this previous resistance. I believe that if Bitcoin did flash crash down to 24K or even 20K, total crypto market cap would find support here at a just over $1 trillion. And that would basically, allow us to go higher or retest the downtrend line on Bitcoin and allow us to potentially go back into a bull market. So that's my take on what's the worst case scenario for Bitcoin, what happens if we crash from here, and how to prepare for it.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. So once again, if you enjoyed that episode, that segment, be sure to check out Forrest's episodes every single week on TMTV, and smash the like button, subscribe, and put on alerts, and tell a friend to tell a friend that not being in crypto is a financial crime. I mean, we're seeing it. Inflation now is becoming even more real here in the US and in all parts of the world. And El Salvador has made Bitcoin a legal tender. So if you're still on the sidelines, what are you waiting for? Okay, with that being said, let's segue to the next segment. So it's time for question of the day. Once again, go to menti.com, MENTI.com. Use the code 32350368. That's 32350368. And the question of the day is El Salvador Victory Capital, MicroStrategy. Do we have enough catalysts for a bullish reversal for Bitcoin? Is the answer yes, or is the answer no? I don't think so. Bill, what do you think?
I would say yes, because, Michael Saylor is almost like the Bitcoin Fed. In other words, if Forrest right and they killed it to 25K, the reason it would be a V-bottom recovery is that they'd be waiting down there. So I think there's fundamentals in place where huge sponsors would come in on any down move. As far as El Salvador goes, countries that mine Bitcoin create these kind of down moves because they have nowhere to spend the Bitcoin. They have to sell it and convert it into dollars. Because you may be looking at this tape going, gee, why does every uptick get sold? What is going on here? So El Salvador is being really smart. They're like, hey, if you have Bitcoin, if you're a miner in some country, you can buy goods from us. You don't have to sell it, crush the price. You can spend it with us. So yeah, I would say the answer to this question is yes.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Let's go to Forrest.
Yeah, so I know I just gave the bearish outlook for Bitcoin, but I'm actually bullish on the market right now. I think we're resting on that strong logarithmic regression band support. We're actually undervalued against a lot of models, like the stock to flow model. I think has Bitcoin valued at around 82K right now. So we're still undervalued against a lot of models. I think Bitcoin can have a reversal. Now, the one thing I'll say about El Salvador is I'm actually a little bit cautious on this news, and I'm not a Lightning Network expert by any means, but I think that Bitcoin is a better store of value than it is currency, and I haven't researched enough the ins and outs of how El Salvador actually plans on making Bitcoin a smooth currency to transact with. I imagine it's going to have a lot to do with the Lightning Network, but I'm a little bit cautious. I genuinely hope it does. I hope it works out, and I hope that they don't have too many issues with transaction fees or confirmation times or anything like that. But overall, adoption for Bitcoin and adoption for crypto is a great thing, and I think it will only add to this bullish reversal that we're hoping for.
All right, thank you, Forrest. So my thoughts on this. Quick take here. I don't think so. I mean, now don't get me wrong. I am bullish long term on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole. But I think if you're trading, now I'm definitely not a trader, but if you're trading, looking for an entry, I mean, I'll probably just wait this out, right? Because based on what Forrest said in terms of, I think before we turn really bullish, I would think we'd have to first retest the trend line and then have a breakout above that. And then if we also go to Tokenomics on our visual trends indicator, it hasn't switched from being bearish on Bitcoin at all. So until this changes to bullish for both the low frequency and the high frequency indicator for Bitcoin, I don't really see a time why this would turn to bullish, right? So based off of that, just purely this plus also Forrest's TA, if you're trading it, meaning that you don't care about long-term hodling, I would just do that. Now, as a value investor, this is what I like, right? If anything, I would prefer the price that keeps on tanking so we can buy the dip and get in at a better entry. But most of us who've been watching our videos, we already have been accumulating Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies or Ethereum or anything like that. So we probably have already been buying too much. But with that being said, let's see what the audience has to say. All right, so the audience says yes. We do have enough catalysts for a bullish reversal for Bitcoin. All right, tell us what you think. Do you think they're wrong? Do you think they're right? Tell us what you think down below. And if you're watching this on Facebook, please be warned, all those comments asking for Bitcoin, they're a scam. Please don't fall for them. We don't give away any Bitcoin. Why would we? If we did, we'd talk about it here on the stream, not in the comments. So definitely don't fall for any of those scams. Keep your hard-earned Bitcoin. Okay. Next question, thought of the week. Once again, go to menti.com, MENTI.com. Use the code 32350368. Thought of the week. the crypto fear and greed index has changed into extreme fear. How are you feeling about the market now? The options are 1, I'm still bullish. 2, I'm afraid the bear is coming. 3, it's hard to say at the moment. All right, so I'll begin by answering this. So when I see extreme fear in the market as a value investor, I'm licking my lips, I'm backing up the Brinks truck, and I'm salivating at buying more. Because as mentioned before on several of our videos, but also on TMTV, on the value investing video, you want to buy when everybody's panicking, when people think this is the end of the world, when there's extreme fear. So when I see this, I'm expecting large discounts. I mean, Bitcoin is down 50%. 50% discount on Bitcoin. I mean, if you ask somebody that, hey, would you buy Bitcoin at half off when Bitcoin was at 60K, you'd say, hell yes. But when you ask that same question now, people are not doing that, right? Because most people, if anything, they buy the top. And you want to do the opposite of the herd. You want to be a smart investor. And this is when you buy, honestly, when prices are chaotic, when everything is on sale. So when I see extreme fear, I'm very bullish because your entry is a very good entry. Let's go to Forrest.
Yeah, so long term, I think there's no better place to have your money than in crypto. Short term, I'm going to go with it's hard to say, right? I personally have it mapped out where I do believe that we're going to go up and retest that downtrend line, and we'll go from there, right? We'll get through and get a confirmation bounce on the other side, or we'll get rejected and go back down and have to retest it multiple times, hopefully to eventually get through. But as of right now, we're in this consolidation pattern, bouncing between 30 and 40K. It's tough to say exactly which way we're going to break out to in the short term. But again, long term, no better place to have your money than in crypto.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. Let's go to Bill.
All right. So with fear and greed, at 32K, you'll have extreme fear. And at 42K, you'll have euphoria, right? It'll be like everything is terrible and then there's nothing wrong. So there's probably going to be a lot of volatility in these sentiment indexes. I completely agree that in some of these DeFi coins, your value investing mentality and dollar cost averaging can begin, not investment advice. Because again, if there's going to be a flash event, it's just more opportunity. But going off sentiment indices at this time, yes, it's great when they're, at 20% and, they're selling Sushi Swap at, $8 and the guy from Zero Hedge says it's going to $1, right? That's an opportunity to take a look. Just be careful about trading on indicators that can change as the market changes.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So let's see what the audience has to say. And they have decided that it is hard to say at the moment. That came in first place, followed by I'm still bullish in second, and then third, I'm afraid the bear market is coming. So let us know what you think. Do you think the audience is right? Tell us what you think down below in the comments. And be sure to smash the like button and share this video with your friend, and tell a friend to tell a friend that not being in crypto is a financial crime. Okay, let's check in here with the comments and see how people are doing. Okay. I did see somebody drop $100 on a super chat, so hopefully we can find that. I think it was about 1 inch total value lock, dropping 80%. Can't find the okay there. Yeah, the truth. Thank you for the. Okay, looks like somebody's still making money in this market. Probably a TM customer. Okay, so producer, could you bring that back up? Okay, yeah, there we go. Great work, Ian. What are your thoughts on 1 inch total value locked? The TVL plummeted over 80% in May, and it has not recovered at all. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I still own my 1 inch. I've still been. Actually, I have to double check. I think all my pulls on 1 inch, all my liquidity pulls might have finished. So I think probably most of them I closed, or I still have a few that are still there. But I still have my 1 inch. I haven't sold any at all. To me, that's a long-term hold. Great technology, great tech. The token could definitely be improved in terms of giving users or holders a better reason to hold. Right now, it's really just a governance token. But 1 inch is an exchange that's not going away anytime soon. The technology is legit. Now, for our customers, we did also review their other competitor, Paraswap, which is also great technology. Both of them are good, but 1inch scored higher. 1inch got a code review score of 89. Paraswap got a mid 80s. But we also do like one other DEX called Integral DEX. Now that's one that's been that's the first token sale I've invested in over 2 years. That's how bullish I was. Code review score also was pretty good. We shared that with the customers. It was in the 80s. But I like Integral because it's a cash flow positive token. Forrest, do you want to share your story on impermanent gain that you told our team earlier this week?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with providing liquidity on Uniswap or SushiSwap or really any AMM-based DEX, you're probably familiar with the concept of impermanent loss, where basically it could be called a pool leak, where essentially you're being forced to make the market and take trades that aren't necessarily favorable, right? So if you're facilitating the transactions between ETH and DAI, but ETH is going up in price a lot, basically the balance of ETH in the pool is going to continue to increase, all right, because people are buying it with DAI and you're selling ETH as it's going up in price. So then you have what's called impermanent loss, which is essentially where you'd have been better off just holding the coins, just holding Ethereum. Now you hope that the transaction fees that you're earning, right, your liquidity, your LP pool fees, offset any impermanent loss. Well, Integral has a unique approach, and I'm not going to get into the details because I'd probably butcher the explanation. They have a unique AMM model that not only gets rid of impermanent loss, but in some situations you can have impermanent gain, where you're actually increasing your position of Ethereum versus DAI, or increasing your position of Chainlink versus ETH, which is the pool that I'm personally in. And since I started providing liquidity at Integral, I've experienced 40% impermanent gain on my deposits, right? I deposited into the Chainlink pool, and for easy math, I'll just say for easy math, let's say I deposited 100 Chainlink. Now I have what is worth 140 Chainlink, right? 40% more Chainlink because I've been experiencing
so
permanent gain.
That's not even APY. That's just in like a few months.
Yeah. That's not even taking into
Hold
account the fees.
Okay, then that's not 40%, because I was thinking 40% APY. That's like 40% in like 2 months.
Yeah. 40% impermanent gain.
Permanent gain. Okay,
It's absolutely insane.
That's great. Yeah, because I've also been providing liquidity to Integral DEX. Now I haven't gone through and done the math in terms of my gains, but that's definitely great to know. So back to the question, 1inch is definitely legit. So is Integral as a backup. I mean, so for me, I think exchanges in crypto, if they're being actively used, it's very hard for them not to do well in the long run. Because crypto, everything we're doing is, if DeFi does well, all these DEXs will do well, from Uniswap to 1inch to Integral. Now, to me, Integral is kind of my moonshot. I did well on 1inch, did well on Uniswap, but Integral has a lower valuation compared to how good the technology is. So I think there's lots of upside with that. But thank you for that super chat. Okay, so let's now go to Crypto Showdown, one of the most popular segments. So go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 32350368. Time for Crypto Showdown. What's the top altcoin to watch in June? We're in June. Market is kind of rough, but there's still some altcoins that are doing pretty well or have some upside. So we've taken some of the most popular coins on Tokenomics, and the options are Kusama, KSM, Polygon, Matic, VeChain, VET. Let us know, which one do you think will have the best month? Let's go to Bill.
Okay, so Matic has a lot of support, like we talked about in the market update. So Matic is almost the no-brainer answer. Now, at 8 cents, no one thought VeChain could go higher, including me, even though I was a huge VeChain fan. VeChain then went to 28 cents, and now it's back at 11. Can you imagine what happens if VeChain actually turned around and made a new high and went to like $1? So when I think about VeChain, I think about this whole thing about supply chain management. I think about supply chain bottlenecks. You know what? I'm going to roll a dice to say VeChain, right? Because if VeChain could go from 11 cents to $1, even though Matic is really powerful, I'm going to go with VeChain.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Let's go to Forrest.
I'm going to go with Kusama, and that's because of the parachain slot auctions that I believe have already started. Don't quote me on that. That's a pretty big catalyst, and it's also a method for it gives people the ability to bid on parachains and actually invest in projects, earn tokens from projects with very little risk, aside from having the exposure to Kusama and or DOT when the DOT parachain slot auctions come out. The big question is whether or not that's already been priced in or will be continued to be priced in throughout the month of June. But I'm going to go with Kusama because of the slot auction starting.
All right. And to complete everything, I'll go with Polygon, Matic. This is still my largest holding, no plans to sell. I mean, I just get more bullish and bullish the more news. This is a project through thick and thin, even in this downturn, they're launching solid projects, and solid projects are always migrating over from Aave to Curve. I mean, this literally seems like they're really trying to compete with Ethereum, even though they're meant to complement Ethereum. It seems almost all the heavy hitters in Ethereum are migrating over to Polygon for just better transaction fees. So to me, I don't really see how Polygon is going to stop, because if anything, the way DeFi goes is the way Polygon is going. So I would have to stick with Polygon. All right, so let's see what the audience has to say. And the winner is Polygon. All right, the audience says Polygon. Let us know what you think. Do you think they're right? Do you think they're wrong? Please post your comments down below in the chat. And be sure to smash the like button. Okay, let's skip this for now. Let's go to a question from the forum. Check out the forum by going to forum.tokenomics.com. Okay, this is a long one. Question here from Alan. Morning, team Tokenomics. Loving the TV shows. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. Question. An assumption has been raised a few times on your shows that rapidly rising inflation will create a problem in the legacy markets with the dollar and the pound, and will push large institutional money into crypto in order to counterbalance that. Arguably, that panic move happened in the pandemic with BTC at 60K. Inflation is becoming an issue here in the UK. We have now cumulatively printed and bought 895 billion pounds in bonds to get through a downturn and COVID, and our rates have gone from 0.7% to 1.5%. It's heading to 4% or more, double the target. Is there an alternative possibility that if we see global inflation running out of control, double digits, the central banks will just go the opposite way and crush Bitcoin and the crypto market with massive regulations in order to protect the validity of their own collapsing currencies? Wow, that was a mouthful. Let's go to Bill. Bill, what do you think?
Okay.
Can central banks crush Bitcoin?
Okay, so let me summarize what this gentleman is asking. He's saying that after a massive money printing spree, can central banks panic, jam on the brakes, start pulling money out of the system to stop inflation, right? Because that's how it works in the economics book. The Fed or the central banks would raise rates, drain money out of the economy, okay? And that would effectively crush stocks and Bitcoin. All right. So let me get this straight. Central banks are going to come in and they're going to pull out the rug and they're going to let equities and real estate crash to try to stop inflation from going to 20%. No, they're not going to do it. They're going to do it if it's totally out of control. All the FUD that's been issued about crypto, frankly, central banks are going to have bigger problems. Social disorder, right? 1 million people are still unemployed. They're still being paid to stay home, and it's not clear whether they're coming back to the labor force or not. shortages of commodities. Pulling money out of the system is not going to solve these problems. They've made this mess and they're just going to have to live with it, right? Because does the stock market crash make the economy better or worse? It could happen. There could be a geopolitical event. But again, once the miners who are the ones selling crypto, once they're done, crypto is going to be on sale. And I don't know how a small person with a PayPal account who has to buy groceries, right? When we do these streams, that's who we're talking to. How do these people protect themselves against the fact that the tires for their car, right, the groceries that they feed their family are going up anywhere from 5 to 20% clips? The only way to do it is to have crypto. I mean, it would be a dream to see Bitcoin at 20K, right? Because that way, all the small guys could just push the buy button and get in and hodl it and hang on for the next year. So at the end of the day, I don't see central banks crushing Bitcoin because they got much, much bigger problems.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Forrest, any comments on this?
Yeah, I completely agree with Bill. I think he's absolutely spot on. I think they have much bigger fish to fry. You look at Bitcoin, it's $728 billion market cap. It's under $1 trillion. The total asset class is $1.6 trillion. It's still very early and it's still very small. If we were at a $25 trillion valuation for the entire crypto asset class, then maybe I'd be a little bit more worried. But I'd also say, I mean, if inflation goes through the roof, which it probably will, and then regulators started pumping the brakes on Bitcoin, how much worse would that make you want it? How much worse do you think everybody would want Bitcoin and other crypto assets if regulators were fighting against it and there was inflation, right? I think if anything, that would change people's minds about crypto, and they would view it more so as a life raft if regulators came in to step in against it.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. Yeah, I mean, I have to echo the same thoughts. This is why crypto was designed to be owned by us, the people, not regulators. So they can't really shut it down. They can try to slow it down, but at the end of the day, the people will still win out, in my opinion. So if inflation is coming, people are losing purchasing power every single year, and now even much faster. So this is why we say not being in crypto is a financial crime. And the good thing about crypto, it's your own bank. So I mean, it's very hard to shut something down if people are their own banks. So if 6 billion people have crypto or Bitcoin, they have to shut down 6 billion banks. And I don't think they have enough firepower for that. All right, with that being said, let's move on to the AMA. All right, so any questions you have, please go to menti.com, MENTI.com. Use the code 32350368. All right. The most popular question we get all the time. I mean, how many times can the question be rephrased? Every single time it's the same question asked a million different ways, but we love you guys and we always love answering this question. What's one coin in your portfolio that you are sure will do a 2 to 3x in 3 months? Okay, and this market, honestly, is tough. This market has been brutal. The only coin in my portfolio was a coin that hasn't launched yet. And actually, they delayed their launch. They were supposed to launch this month. That is Integral Dex. Someone was asking for the name of it. This is not financial advice. Please do not go out there and buy this, because the price that this will be trading at will be different than the price of the actual token sale. But this is basically it. It's basically competing with Uniswap, SushiSwap, all those other DEXs, but it's meant to be more capital efficient. And capital efficiency is a narrative we think that is next in DeFi and crypto. We've covered this for the last 2 months to our customers via the newsletter and to the professional customers via the weekly webinars. But this is one we think could do well. Relative to all the other DEXs in terms of valuation, if we go here to DEXs on DeFi Llama, so I believe it should, so looking at this, these are all the DEXs in terms of total value locked, right? Now, Integral hasn't launched their token yet, but they're ranked 17th, right? So they have over $200 million in TVL, slightly more than Dodo and DFYN Network, DYDX, and Serum. So I think this could do very, very well, especially once they launch a token, more capital efficient. As Forrest just mentioned, it's making money for people who are providing liquidity as via the LP pools. So that's one, I think. If it launches with a market cap of 100 million. And now for perspective, let's go to, sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to go to, here, I'll just put in Uniswap. So if we compare all the valuations of all DEXs relative to other DEXs and relative to its TVL, even though that's not the best metric to use, I still think it kind of gives you perspective in terms of where this is. Right? Uniswap has a $12 billion market cap, PancakeSwap $3 billion market cap, Third Chain $2 billion. Where's Dodo? Dodo has a market cap, it's kind of been crashing, about slightly under 200 million. So if Integral launches with a $100 million market cap, maybe even lower, might be tough for that. But whenever it launches, I think that could be somewhere between 200 million to $500 million, depending on the market, right? Now, it looks like the team is smart and they want to launch when the market is more positive, more optimistic. I just hope they don't wait forever to put out the token like some other projects did back in 2018, 2019. But given that, that's one project. I mean, I'll be surprised, honestly, if they don't do a 2x at least. But that's if the market is bullish when it launches their token. That's the other token, maybe Alchemix. They just announced the launch of Ethereum as collateral. Now, this was one of my Tokenomics TV videos. If you just go to tv.tokenomics, that's where I do all my deep dives. Let me just pull that up here. So I may do a follow-up video on Alchemix where I go through and actually deposit my Ethereum as collateral and borrow against it using AlEth. Now, let me know if you think that would be good to do. But going here, now we did lock all the videos now, so you have to be a customer to actually watch them. So if you're not a customer, just join with a trial. But anyway, there's a video here I did, Alchemix. So those two, I think, are going to be tokens I could possibly do a 2x in my portfolio, because I was waiting on using Alchemix to add ETH as collateral, because now that you can borrow against your Ethereum, even though the collateral ratio is pretty high at 400%, but technically, if you can deposit, let's say, $100,000 in ETH into Alchemix and borrow $25,000 in AlEth, then you take that and you sell it into stablecoin or whatever, and you cash out, and you still have your Ethereum, and you never have to pay capital gains taxes, and you keep your Ethereum for the long term, and the yield and Alchemix on your ETH, which gets put into year-end finance, that yield is then used to pay off your loan. That is a win-win. So I don't see how you could lose on that. So to me, I think more people will get into Alchemix, and the token is going to switch or migrate over to being a cash flow positive tokens, where all the stakers will be earning tokens. We'll be earning a portion of the fees. So to me, those are two coins in my portfolio that I think could do a 2 to 3x. How about you, Forrest?
I'm going to mix it up and actually go with a large cap. I'm going to say DOT. Parachain slot auctions coming up. It's been beaten down to 19, 20 bucks. Only has to get to 38 to 40 to do a 2x. As long as the market just doesn't keep capitulating and we get some sort of a recovery, I think DOT has one of the easiest paths to recovery of any token out there, because we're just so close to so many catalyst events. I'm also going to say ETH. EIP 1559 coming up. I know it's like the sayings, buy the news, sell the whatever the saying is.
Buy the rumor, sell the news.
Buy the rumor, sell the news. Exactly. Thank you. I mean, ETH's at 2,500, but if you take it from 2K where it's recently been, ETH getting back to 4K, I don't think is that difficult given enough time over the next couple months. EIP 1559 on the horizon. If we extend that time frame out a little bit longer and we look 6 to 12 months down the line with ETH 2.0, 2 to 3x on Ethereum is very, very possible.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. Let's go to Bill.
All right. So I'll go with 2 DeFi small caps. Let me see if I can pull the chart up here. We looked at this before. long time ago on the show. This is Rari Capital, RGT, a DeFi protocol made by a bunch of 18-year-olds. They loved it at 19 or 20, and they pushed it down to 5. So can this go to 10? Certainly, right? It was at 10 just before Memorial Day. Now, the other one I'm looking at is something Ian brought to my attention, which I think he'll know about more than me, but it's Lido Finance, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Lido?
Yeah, Lido.
Is this
LDO.
Right. So this is the platform that helps you stake ETH while somehow still holding onto your ETH. And I'm like, if ETH's going to go to 4,000, how amazing would it be if you could stake it and ride the move back to the highs? So those would maybe my picks, my dark horses for, things that can just 2x by just going back to where they were back in May. What's changed except price and sentiment?
All right. Thank you, Bill. So if you enjoyed that, please smash the like button and subscribe. Jason is saying, what about Armor? I mean, Armor, yes. Armor honestly has been pulverized. I mean, there's nothing to really pretty much like most other tokens. But these tokens, I think, because they're cash flow positive, I think they'll weather the storm a lot better in times like this. But right now, I've just been staking my Armor and just earning that APY. Okay, all right. So let's move on here to the next question. Okay, are we going down considering Death Cross is happening in less than a week? All right, let's go to Forrest. What do you think about this?
So to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of moving average systems. The main reason is because they're lagging indicators, right? And the second thing about that is if it's not happening for another week, it means it hasn't happened yet, right? If we go back up and retest, and maybe it's one of those things where the prices are already in the books and it would have to just go to absurd heights to pull away from that death cross. I haven't been keeping up with it with whether or not we're going to see a death cross. But if we go back up and we get a retest and we don't fail the retest and then we get a confirmation bounce and we head back up above 50K Bitcoin, I don't know. I think we could go back into a bull market. But I'm not huge on moving average signals. I know the pi cycle top was very accurate this time and has been in the past, but they just seem to be lagging indicators, and I like to look at leading or current indicators.
All right. How about you, Bill?
Okay, so I've got a lot of experience with this death cross and golden cross process because they just love this in equities. Okay, my experience with this is as follows. When there is this negative moving average cross, it could have meaning long-term, but normally what happens is the two moving averages meet, and what the market does is it rallies right to where that cross is. The cross itself, or the levels where the moving averages are, actually act as a magnet. So if the 50 and 200-day moving average, so I got the 200-day in black, the 50 in red, right? Normally what will happen is it's the same as Forrest retest the trend line. The market will go to where the moving averages will meet, which right here is about 43K. So is it the death cross? Yes. The other thing I tell people is I like to stay away from like emotional names. Like, ooh, it's the golden cross or it's the death cross. Look, crypto is emotional enough as it is. Try to follow whatever indicators you like to look at, whether that's moving averages or not. I would say if you're going to follow a moving average system, use our trend following system, right? Because it utilizes moving averages and AI. In this case, I think it argues for a move to 44K Because as everybody in the print media goes, oh no, it's the death cross, the market rallies right to that level.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay, so let's move on to the next comment here or question. Hey, Forrest, we know you love the Polkadot ecosystem. What are your favorite Polkadot projects at this time? I'm loving Polkadex, Bridge Mutual, and Nodo. Forrest?
Yeah, so for me, I'm treating Polkadot. I'm actually more bullish on the actual layer one solution. I think we've scored a couple ones that have scored well. Moonbeam, maybe, as well as Edgeware and some other ones. But for me, I'm more invested at the layer one because I think the layer one Polkadot solution will hold up better in a rough market than being invested in a lot of these smaller projects. We also know that most new projects in the crypto ecosystem are bound to fail. We obviously take a very, very structured approach to identifying ones that are going to be around for a long time and continue to grow. And that's why we have the code review scores. That's why we have fundamental analysis scores. But for me personally, I'm in Polkadot because I can stake it for 12%, and I'm bullish on its use case as blockchain interoperability and the way that it's going to connect all blockchains in the future. So that's my take on it. I'm not huge on a lot of these Polkadot projects because there is a lot of hype around them, and I don't want to enter something that's potentially overvalued.
All right. How about you, Bill?
Well, I'm in complete agreement with Forrest. I think if you're going to play Polkadot, you just straight up play Polkadot, right? It's kind of like the way Ethereum was before there was all the DeFi, dApps that came out. Polkadot is Web3. So if you own Polkadot and that ecosystem takes off, you're going to do very well with Polkadot, particularly since, everyone loved Polkadot at 50, and I can't even get anyone to talk about it at 20. No one wants to talk, of course, except Forrest, of course. But I mean, no one wants to talk about Polkadot. I'm like, what did you guys forget this? I mean, what's changed about that except price? I mean, yes, Polkadot is not operational, so it is vaporware in a certain sense, but that is going to get turned on at some point, and they've marked it down 50%.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So for those who know, I basically agree with Bill. I think Polkadot, great technology. I mean, this is one of the few projects that has scored over a 90% in the code review. So solid technology. But I think they're very early. They're going through what Ethereum did back in 2017 when projects were launching ICOs with just purely a white paper. Except now we have projects just launching their tokens on the Ethereum blockchain for Polkadot, which makes totally no sense. However, despite having lots of noise, our research team has been able to find solid projects with great technology that we think have potential. And we have shared these to our customers via code review. But basically, the top projects on the Polkadot ecosystem that have scored over an 80% on the code review. One, PolkaSwap, that I think did over a 30x return. So congrats to anybody who got into that. Then, as Forrest mentioned, Moonbeam, which is essentially smart. Actually, Moonbeam and Edgeware, both of them are doing smart contracts on Polkadot. So they're kind of trying to become the Ethereum of Polkadot in a way, is my understanding. Both of those scored over 80% solid projects. And one last one, which is actually the only Polkadot project where I do actually have tokens for. And this is because you can't buy the token. Well, I think you can buy the token, but I didn't buy the token. I've been mining this. This is one we actually scored a while back. Back then it was kind of early. Didn't score too well, or it was just a good grade. Rescored it again recently with a code review, send that out to our customers. This is Nodo Cash. This is essentially Helium network on your phone. So if you just get a phone, iPhone, I'm not sure if it's on Android, but you download the app and you just mine via Bluetooth. It's in the same with Helium where you just get a hotspot, plug it in, and it mines. This is Nodo Cash. They're basically building a decentralized network using smartphones and Bluetooth. So they basically want to build a network where via Bluetooth, other phones can talk to each other and send data, whatever it is. But anyway, I've had it on my phone for the last month or two. Haven't made anything basically. I've made 0.00039 nodal cash, and that's me being downtown here in Austin. So I'm not sure if it's not working or whatever, but that's one worth keeping an eye on. I do have it turned on in case maybe it blows up and I make some money like I did with Helium. So if anybody out there wants to get into Polkadot without having to pay any money and having zero cost basis, look into Nodal Cash. Not financial advice, but so I personally don't plan to buy any of these tokens, but I do have them on my watch list. Maybe when Polkadot becomes more mature, more projects are actually building and launching and have actual communities and actual utility, those are the projects on my watch list for Polkadot ecosystem. So let me know if you like any of those projects down below. I see here somebody's saying Nodo is a beast, and I've had it since they were on Stellar blockchain. Yes, yeah. So they've switched over from Stellar to Polkadot. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, hold on. So we have lots of people have interest about Audius. So speaking of Audius, the next question: which coin is more undervalued right now, Audius or Helium? All right, great question. Great question. Let's begin with Bill.
All right. Well, the definition of undervalued in this market is probably beat up. So, Audius at $1 versus Audius at $5 way back when. I would say Audius is probably, below its long-term potential. Now, Helium, if Helium's a top 10 or top 5 market cap project, Helium may also be undervalued. I'm just noticing here it's below its 50-day moving average. So Audius is more beat up, but Helium may, be one of these coins that goes from top 100 to top 20, especially if the market doesn't do well. It could be a 2-coin market, Helium and Matic.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Let's go to Forrest.
Yeah, so if we can just go to my screen real quick, I'll show you why I think that they are both equally fair valued. If you've watched this live stream before, if you watched Tokenomics TV, I'm a big fan of buying on the trend line, buying on the trend line, buying on the trend line. They're both essentially on their trend lines right now. We're looking at audio right now. It's at $1. It's fairly valued against this trend line. We did have this big bubble run up to $5. I hope there will be many more big bubble run-ups in the future for audio in the long term. There'll be great selling opportunities once we get overvalued, but audio is fairly valued in my opinion in the short term. Now that's from a charting perspective. Obviously we could delve in and do some analysis, some fundamental analysis on how mature are these networks, how many people, what is the actual market cap, but just from a simple trend line based price TA perspective, to me, these are both fairly valued based on their price history, right? Helium on its trend line at $13. So in my opinion, a great entry point, right? I always say buying the trend line, buying the trend line, buying the trend line. We're on the trend line, guys. If anyone's looking for a Helium or an Audius entry, not financial advice, I think they're both at fair value right now.
All right, thank you, Forrest. So actually, just got a tip here from somebody in the comments, I think from Jan. Thank you for that, Jan. He's saying Nodal Cash is available to mine on a Mac M1. So I'm actually going to have to download that and see if I can mine this via Bluetooth on my desktop. So thank you for that pro tip. Okay, so for me, I definitely have to go with Helium all the way. And that's not because I love Helium, even though I do. But that's because fundamentally, there are 2 huge catalysts coming for Helium network. One, we have the Helium halving, right? So if you go to Helium, here, just pull up my screen here. If you go to explore.helium.com, we have 48 days until the Helium halving. That means Helium, similar to the Bitcoin halving back last year in May, is going to become even more scarce. So you thought Helium was doing something now in the last year or two, it's going to get even more scarce. right? So this is a fundamental event that I think is definitely going to change the trajectory of where it's going. And then, not to mention, with the second fundamental event, right now we have 57,000 hotspots. I mean, this is growing based on network effects. Right? Just look at this. In the last, we've added how many hotspots? Let me see if I can map this. Okay, it's not mapping it as I would like. But basically, back in May, we were at 30,000, and now we're at 57,000. Right? So this is going parabolic, literally. This is literally a hockey stick graph. Right? Plus, we have over 200,000 hotspots backordered, probably even more now. That was how many they had before they launched the 5G. Right? So I have my 5G coming. Hopefully, it's not delayed. Or rather, I'm sorry, I'm on the wait list for it. But 5G is expected to launch in Q3. If it gets delayed, maybe Q4. So we have all these hotspots being added. This network is growing exponentially. We have the halving event coming up, and then we have 5G networks. So to me, this is not really priced in. I mean, yes, we could say it's priced in, but this is going to get more useful as a network, right? Following Metcalfe's law, I don't see how this. Oh, plus we also have staking as well. Those are 4 fundamental events that are going to happen and impact the price upward. Not financial advice, but I think those 4 fundamental events are definitely going to make Helium undervalued. Now, I do have some audience as well, but honestly, I don't think there are that many events coming up that would make audience moon. I know they're still in the works with music staking. I'm sorry, music NFTs, but I'm not sure when that's coming out. I haven't really. I'm basically not an audience expert. I'm a Helium expert. Helium, I know, right? So as a result, I'd have to choose Helium as being more undervalued. But thank you for that question. All right, next question. What will staking and farming look like in the bear market? All right, this is a great question. Great question. Let's go to Forrest.
So there's obviously a lot of different forms that staking and farming can take. I would expect rates in a bear market to probably go down on most, maybe not staking, but like yield farming opportunities, because if there's more demand, well, even staking too, honestly. I would expect rates to decrease because the demand for earning yield on your underlying crypto assets is going to go up. I think a lot of people are going to get caught holding. If we do go into a bear market, they'll be caught holding their bags. Then they won't want to sell at these, really low prices. So then they'll turn to trying to find yield. And when everybody turns to try to find yield, the rates, the returns, right? The staking rewards have to be spread out among more people, more participants. Same thing goes with yield. So there's a similar amount of yield being spread out around a larger demand of people trying to earn that yield. So then the rates should go down. So actually, I do think products like Yearn Finance, Rari Governance, or Rari Capital, right? These yield aggregators, Ribbon Finance, where you can actually aggregate and find the most optimal path of yield. I think those projects could actually do pretty well in a bear market because the demand for maximizing yield will be high. I think actually Ribbon Finance in particular, because it's not necessarily a farming product, it's a structured derivatives options protocol, could do really well in a bear market as well.
All right, thank you, Forrest. Let's go to Bill.
I think staking is going to do a lot better than farming. I think staking is almost going to be a new way of earning dividends. So even though it's not 100% APY, people are going to find projects like ETH and DOT, and they're going to stake in high quality names. Forrest is right. If you wind up holding some bag and, you've got to stake it, that's fine. But I think in a sideways to down market, people are going to take the big coins and look to get between 5 and 10%. It's going to be like the dividend junk bond game in legacy.
All right, thank you, Bill. This is the tough question. So what are we going to do in a bear market? Are we going to stake? Are we going to yield farm? Or are we just going to cash out? For me, I would say if you really need the money, then maybe cash out. But for me, I don't really plan to cash out unless I need the money. And even when I cash out, I don't want to sell my crypto. I learned that the last bull run. Last thing you want to sell your crypto and then see Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever, the next market cycle go to the moon and beyond. I mean, unless you're going to time the market, sell the top and get out. But to me, if anything, I just want to borrow against it. So if anything, I'll borrow against my Ethereum because I never plan to sell my Ethereum. I've learned that lesson. I don't have any plans to sell my Ethereum ever again. Maybe things will change, but for the time being, don't plan to change. I just want to find valuable projects and stake them. So actually, speaking of this, we're talking with with a business partner. He found a wallet where he was staking Matic, Polygon, for over a year, and he forgot about this. He forgot it was some wallet he had. He staked Matic, forgot about it because in crypto you have so many different wallets just for security or just for whatever. Then he discovered this wallet, and he had $122,000 in Polygon from staking it. Right, so that's the value of staking a project, because if you find something that's valuable, that's going to be around in several years. Because imagine you were staking Matic Polygon at a penny, 2 cents, 3 cents, and it goes to 270, and you wake up with over 6 figures, 7 figures. That's a lot of money, right? So same thing happened to those in Polygon. But for me, that's the same thing. I'll find projects with value, Polygon, Helium, the projects Bill mentioned, Forrest mentioned. So some projects on my radar. So let's say it's not just staking. Let's say you just want to yield farm. That's fine. Let's say you cash out, you're in stable coins. What do you use your stable coins to earn yields, right? So the ones I'll be looking at with a stable coin or for lending, I've talked about this before. We have Alchemix. So pulling my screen up here, we have Alchemix, which is paying out over 100%. Now, will this be sustainable in a bear market? Who knows? If it is, that is definitely a steal. So we have that. We have Idle Finance. I also have this in all these I have in my portfolio except for 3 of them. So this is stablecoin yield aggregator. So if you just want to park your stablecoins in somewhere, this is one worth looking into. I am staking this currently. They launched staking recently. Ribbon. This is a project I covered in one of my last moon mission videos on Tokenomics TV. Great project. If anything, this is the project I'm going to buy. If you had to ask me what project that has a token that's not trading yet that I'm going to get, this is it. This, if anything, is a bear market strategy centric project. What does it do? It's basically a robo-advisor for strategies on options, right? So basically what IDO and Yearn Finance do with stablecoins, where you just give them your stablecoins and they print money for you, essentially. Ribbon does the same things with complex options. So for example, they have a strategy here where you can deposit your stablecoin, USDC, and they basically buy automated puts on Ethereum, right? So it's basically a way to hedge against any volatility with Ethereum. And right now, we covered this when they only had one strategy. I think they still have only one strategy. All the others are coming soon. But they had about 500,000 in maximum capacity. They've now increased it because this is being increased gradually. But if you're looking to make some money in the downturn, this is basically it, right? Because let's say you're no quant, you're no trading expert or guru, don't know options. You just come here, give them your stable coin, they handle this for you, right? So this is definitely worth looking into. They also have this for Route Bitcoin. So this is basically automated hedging with Ethereum. So this is what I plan to use. And I do plan to buy their token depending on what the valuation is when it launches. Then Yearn Finance. If you just go to their vaults, this is pretty straightforward. One of the most popular projects in all of DeFi and crypto. Whatever asset you have, you just deposit here with the stable coins or whatever. They handle that for you. Rari Capital, Bill mentioned this as well. I do like this. I don't own any as well. I like Ribbon Finance better, but they also have other more complicated options like tranches and fuses and other things that, quite frankly, I don't really know too much about, but definitely worth looking into them. I think maybe some of these could be used as hedges in the downturn. Then I also do have Vesper Finance. Their token hasn't really done too much, but I've been staking. I've been farming on their platform as well. Right? They're currently paying down 90%. So these are the strategies I plan to employ in the bear market. So I plan to basically just keep on staking my Polygon indefinitely until it goes to maybe top 10, top 5 market cap. I definitely plan to stake my Helium network when it launches. Staking has not launched yet. If you just go to helium.com/stake, someone was asking for this in the chat. Helium.com/stake. This, I'm definitely going to stake this indefinitely. And then the third option, staking your stablecoins, borrowing against your Ethereum, your stablecoins, and then Ribbon Finance. This is really the automated way to hedge in crypto and DeFi without having to be an expert in it. So that's a project I'm very, very bullish on. And looking at the APR for Helium, this depends on how many HNT are staked. So early on, it will be 360% APR on Helium. Now, obviously, I don't expect this to last too long, but the minimum, well, not minimum, if we get 10 million HNT tokens staked, that's 36%. That's still pretty good on a project that could become, in my opinion, top 20 market cap, maybe even top 10 market cap. Earning 36% of this is pretty good. Similar to how people were staking Polygon at under 3 cents. When it went to 270, they made a lot of money. So that's the strategy I plan to employ. Let me know if you like any of that down below in the comments. Somebody's saying giving up the jewels. Hey, we like to offer value to our audience and to our customers. All right, let's go on to, I think we've kind of answered that question. Okay, maybe this is a different question. What do the Tokenomics team members plan on doing during the bear market? Do you trade, hodl, DCA, or go away till halving event? We've kind of answered that in the last question. Maybe we can answer this in a different way. Bill, what do you plan to do during a bear market?
I think for a bear market, for staking purposes, I'm going to be looking to do dollar cost averaging, right? In other words, once you have a 90% correction in altcoins, then I think you can start the DCA process. I was just looking at what happened with Matic. Let me bring this up. You know, just in case you think that it doesn't require a degree of bravery to actually make massive long-term gains. This is the DCA idea. So Matic was at a penny and it went to 4 cents. Then it went back to 1 cent in like 2 days. It tried to go up and then it crashed below 1 cent again a couple of months later. Then, of course, it sat there and now it's at $2. So living with this level of pain is required to become a millionaire. And that's why once something crashes down 70 or 80%, like what Forrest was talking about with Bitcoin, that's when you start the DCA process and stake it.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Let's go to Forrest.
Yeah, all of the above. So I'll be trading in a bear market. I'll be hodling in seeking yield on anything in my portfolio that can earn yield. And then I'll also be DCAing into projects that I believe in long term, right? DOT, I believe, is going to be around long term. I want to add to my stack of DOT in a bear market, and I'm going to do that through hybrid kind of DCA, buy any dips we have in a bear market, you know, buy along the trend line, buy along the bottom of any channels that we develop in a bear market. Nano, another project that I'll be DCAing into at low prices in a bear market, happily, because I believe it in the long term. Yeah, all of the above.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. Yeah, I mean, similar to what I said before, I'll try to answer this in a different way. Now, ironically, DCA is a great strategy. I mean, I definitely recommend it. I think you should do it. But quite frankly, I don't do it. That's because I already have enough money into crypto. So if anything, I just want to make more crypto, not necessarily put more money into crypto. But if you're new to crypto, you definitely need to DCA into crypto. But what I do now is I just wait for when I hear people saying it's the end of the world, and then I try to take profits on some crypto that are up, or some cryptos that are up, but I don't believe in long term anymore. Well, I'm trying to exit gradually. So I cash out from there. For example, I cashed out some Chromia and bought some of the new altcoins we've covered in the code reviews, right? But basically, what I do is I like to scale in. So typically, if it's a new project, I'll buy some For example, Polygon is the best example. When I first got in, Polygon was 1% of my portfolio. Then it pivoted to I'm sorry, it was Matic back then. It was 1% of my portfolio. Then they pivoted to Polygon. And I saw that was a huge catalyst event. And I got even more bullish on it. And I made it 10% of my portfolio. So that's when I basically, it wasn't really dollar cost averaging in. It was more of, there was a huge fundamental event that would change the trajectory of where it's going. And I got more bullish. And I said, okay, you know what? This has to be a larger part of my portfolio. Then I made it 10% of my portfolio. And then from there, it just went up. And now it's about 40% of my portfolio. So if anything, I like to double down on my winners when there's a huge change in the fundamentals. Same thing with Helium. I was mining it when it launched from day one. Bought some between 15 cents and 25 cents. Bought some more at $1.50. Bought some more at $10. So it's kind of like I find products that are winning, and I just double down and triple down, right? Because they're proving themselves that they can execute and really grow, right? But those are projects with actual fundamentals. So if anything, I like to scale in with a small position, 1%, and then double down as they mature. So it's kind of like same thing with Bitcoin, same thing with Ethereum. I definitely do plan to stake products that are your winners. You want to stake them. Not staking in a bear market is just giving away free money, honestly. Yield farm as well. And pretty much all the other strategies. I definitely don't plan to go away. If anything, I want to make sure I have money or have projects to cash out and buy the dip, because bear market is where you find the next, not just 100x, the next 1000x. We're trying to find the next Polygon, Helium, whatever project you has done pretty well for you. All the big projects, the best dips are in a bear market. And best example was we were in Osaka, Japan at Ethereum DevCon with our team. And honestly, this was the bottom of a bear market. This was probably about 2 weeks before we launched Tokenomics. It was bear market. Everybody had become a Bitcoin maximalist. Just the word altcoin, people would start looking at you funny, right? Nobody wanted to be an altcoin guy. And even us, I mean, we were altcoin people, but this was literally the bottom of the bottom. It was kind of like being in purgatory, almost like being in hell. And literally, Casper Labs was basically begging for money. I mean, this was the hottest project now on CoinList, but you could literally have given them $10 million back then, and they'll take your money. I mean, to a point, I had a friend of mine, which is kind of now funny after I heard the story. I referred him to Casper Labs. He ended up investing through his crypto fund. They put in $5 million in Casper Labs. When it launched, that money is now worth $150 million, right? So I referred them in the bottom of a bear market to Casper Labs, and now they're sitting on $150 million, right? And I was like, that could have been me, right? So if anything, the lesson I've learned is you should back up the Brinks truck in a bear market, because all those top projects, because even Mino Protocol, they were in Osaka, Japan at Ethereum DevCon, and we missed them, right? So if anything, I want to make sure I have lots of capital to deploy in the bear market, because that's when nobody else is willing to take the risk. And that's when you get the large gains, the large life-changing returns in the bear market. So whether it's Helium, whether it's Polygon, whether it's Casper Labs, whether it's Mino Protocol, whether it's some other project, the next 1000x that everybody is buying the top of in the next market cycle is going to happen in a bear market. So you want to make sure you have the cash to deploy when that happens. So I'm definitely not leaving the bear market. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do. So hopefully that helps. All right, so let me see how we're doing on time. If you're enjoying this live stream, please smash the like button, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Okay, next question. Can you comment on the liquidity token inflation rate? I believe the circulating supply has increased by over 50% since you first mentioned it. Does the premise of the project outshine the tokenomics? Very good question, very good question. This is a project where when it launched, the circulating supply was very low, but the fully diluted supply was very high. And quite frankly, yeah, I think that has been an issue. I'm not sure when that's going to stop or slow down, but I think that plus a bear market has definitely affected it. I think if we could go back, we probably would have waited until more tokens were circulating before getting in, right? Because I mean, even myself right now, I'm down a lot, but it's a project I'm bullish on long term, so I've just been staking it, and I've actually used it to borrow some money. But very good project, but I think that definitely is a concern. I think products with a very high fully diluted token supply, you definitely want to steer of, especially in times like this, because that's an extra element of risk you don't really need. Forrest, any thoughts on this?
I think you covered it. The main thing, I'm just holding on to mine, staking it long term, earning the rewards. Hopefully that can help offset some of the token inflation. It is the 12th largest project, DeFi project or DeFi protocol by TVL right now. So it is a large project, and it's only going to get better. And again, we've talked before, we're big on capital efficiency, and in the long term, I think capital efficiency can be a narrative in the future where, I'm not going to say it's going to flip Maker, but it's a more capital efficient version of Maker. And I expect adoption to continue.
All right, Bill, any thoughts on liquidity?
I think we're only in the early stages of this idea where you're borrowing money against crypto that you hold. Obviously, liquidity, people, this token got hurt. But again, when you have these kind of like across the board market declines, I think it's really hard to look at a project and say, oh yeah, that project's no good, when the whole market just went down, right? The question is, what projects will recover? Now, it remains to be seen, but I don't think people should get too down on any one thing until the market starts to recover and Mr. Market gives you a vote as to whether or not something's going to be good or not good going forward.
All right. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. As Bill mentioned earlier with the chart of Polygon Nomadic, I'm sorry to keep on bringing it up, but I think that's a textbook how you make money in crypto. As Bill mentioned, it was at a penny, went to 4 cents, crashed down to a penny, went flat for like a year, went to $2. Right? So you have to be willing to weather the storm and just think long term. Because if we're holding Matic and you panic sold, I mean that is regret you don't want with you for the rest of your life, honestly. All right. So if anything, think long term. Don't go where the wind blows with your portfolio. All right. That's how you lose money. All right. On to the next question. Actually, a question maybe for Bill. Could we have an Alpha update? Alpha is a popular coin with the Tokenomics family.
Yes. Okay. So let me bring up my screen.
As Bill pulls that up,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying Alpha is one of those projects where it's now looking really, really good. I mean, the discount it's on, or it's been on, yeah, it's down almost over 70%. So this is on my watch list. So I may even get in on this if it keeps on dipping like this.
Okay, so let's talk about the Alpha chart. Can you see my screen here?
And I think we're pulling it up.
All right, I just stopped sharing it. I'm resharing it now. Okay, so with Alpha, they came out with an announcement that they're expanding their universe. And as I understand it, if you build on the Alpha platform, so you could build like a Rari Capital on top of Alpha's DeFi infrastructure, and stakers of Alpha would get airdropped the tokens of the protocols that build on top of Alpha. This news came out and Alpha proceeded to go down again. Now, I'm doing a lot of GAN work on this. It's sort of grinding down a support line at 61 cents. It's green today. One of the reasons why I went back and I looked at the chart of Matic is because I had to remind myself that, if you're going to get great opportunity, you're going to have to live with great pain. So either I'm just wrong on this, or the analysts and, the group that we, the collective thought process that we put together with this, the charts, the whole deal was just wrong, or this is the type of pain you have to live with if you're going to find the next Matic, right? You don't just push a button and, magically have it, right? So I bought this at $1.50 and it's now at 60 cents. So what's the update? Well, you can do one of two things. You can take the tax loss and come back in later, particularly if, there's going to be another heave lower in Bitcoin. You could take the tax loss and never come back at all. I would understand that. What am I going to do? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to let this thing go wherever it's going to go on the downside. I'm going to double my position and stake it and forget it. Because if it's a DeFi protocol that you can build other DeFi protocols on top of it, and it's got an exchange attached to it, something may have happened where everyone thought the story was great all at once, like in Matic, and then you may go to the other extreme and everyone may give up. So I'm just going to double up, stake it, and hope that the original research and the original idea of a DeFi Disneyland can come true in the future.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Forrest, any thoughts on Alpha?
Yeah, so Alpha is a really, really good project. And I try to stick to the strategy of good projects at good entry points. And the reason the good projects part of that is so important is because sometimes you don't get a good entry point, or sometimes you think your entry point was good and it turns out that the entire market crashes behind Bitcoin and it wasn't as good of an entry point as you thought it was. So that's why the good projects portion of that is so important. And I think Alpha is such a good project that it'll end up bailing us all out. Good projects will bail you out of a bad entry point 9 times out of 10, especially in the crypto space, which is growing very, very fast. If you just keep a long-term vision, right? So I echo exactly what Bill's saying. I'm going to double down my position, stake it, and forget about it.
Yeah, I think that's the motto for a bear market: stake and forget, right? Because I think honestly, sometimes it's better to forget, because when you are constantly thinking about it, that's when you panic sell and you basically take that out. And Alpha is a legit project. Now, I don't have it. The reason I didn't buy it when it launched, it was worth about $500 million. And to me, I didn't think it could 10x from that level, despite the great code review it received. But I've had it on my watch list. This is one of those projects where if it keeps on dipping, if it goes down to under 100 million market cap, or even 50 million market cap, I mean, God forbid. I know our customers don't want to hear that, but as somebody who's on the sidelines, that is a steal, right? So if it goes there, best believe I'm definitely gonna back up the Brinkstock and buy some. But for me, this is definitely one of my watch list projects where I do plan to probably go in. I'm just kind of waiting for basically one more large correction of bloody market to possibly go in. But definitely a legit project, great technology. I think in the next market cycle, this will definitely bounce back. Plus, I mean, besides having great technology and great code review, you have other investors in it as well, from Multicoin Capital, Delphi Ventures. So, I mean, if people are losing money, they're losing money. If anything, they're probably doubling down and buying more. All right. So the question is, do you want to hodl or do you want to think long term? If you're thinking long term, you want to be in good projects, and this is definitely a good project. All right. So let's go on to the next question. Okay, this is too many coins, unfortunately, and I think we've covered most of these projects. Okay, do you think loan products like Liquidity and Alchemix can gain mass adoption amongst retail investors? I feel this kind of products can fly over a lot of people's head, and only big institutions will understand. Okay, very good question. All right, so yeah, I think this part, I would say in the current form, retail investors, traders really won't really understand what's going on. But I think Alchemix is a great project. I mean, this is one I'm in love with. But I think their marketing, their lingo could be made more consumable for newbies. But being DeFi, being something that's composable, I could see other projects building on top of them and being more user-friendly. Right? So being the Robinhood for lending and borrowing on DeFi or crypto. Right? So I think it's something that's possible. But right now, I think they're basically targeting hardcore crypto people and possibly institutions. Because during Bitcoin Miami 2021, the week prior to the other week, I was talking to some funds, not in crypto, just some fund managers, telling them about liquidity and alchemics, and they were very, very intrigued. They said you could borrow against Ethereum and never have to pay back, never have to have a margin call. That definitely perked their eyes and ears up. So I think lots of institutions will come into the space, and this is what they're looking for. Right now, the question is there enough liquidity for them to participate in these kind of projects? Right now, probably not, but down the road, I could see this really taking off. But for retail, not quite there yet. Let's go to Forrest.
Yeah, so you guys remember what video streaming was like in 2006 and 2007, where you pressed play on a YouTube video and it buffered for 3.5 minutes before you could watch the first minute, and then it would buffer again because your internet wasn't fast enough and the infrastructure wasn't there? That's where crypto's at right now. In 5-6 years, we're going to look back and laugh and be like, you remember what it was like to use Ethereum before ETH 2.0, or, by then ETH 3.0, right? The UI UX isn't retail friendly yet, right? It's not retail friendly yet, but it will be eventually. And you have the opportunity to get into these projects that are excellent projects before they become retail friendly. And once they're retail friendly, more retail money comes in. But yeah, I think what you're saying is completely accurate. They're not very retail friendly right now. The gas fees are high. Confirmation times, can take 5 minutes to an hour. It's rough right now, but it's only going to get better.
All right, thank you, Forrest. Let's go to Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I would use the same thing with things like margin and securities lending. Like, for example, if you own stock, like say Snapchat back in the day, and you wanted to lend out Snapchat for some short seller to use it to sell short, everyone was like, no one's going to understand margin. No one's going to understand earning yield, lending stock to short sellers. No one's going to get that. Please. At Schwab, we were overwhelmed with people trying to figure out, how to earn yield, how to use what they had to either, get leverage, earn yield, etc. So if there's money to be made, if crypto assets have to be held as a protection from inflation, you may not figure out alchemics. Your financial advisor may tell you about alchemics. This is something that people haven't figured out yet, that the legacy world of advice, or perhaps a crypto world of advice, will pop up. Right now it's known as YouTube. We're trying to turn it into Tokenomics TV, and it could be brick and mortar one day, where you walk in and you're like, okay, I've got some Ethereum. How do I earn yield on it? There's a firm in Austin that we met at the Bitcoin conference, Unchained Capital. They've been doing this type of thing for Bitcoin for a long time. So this idea that people can't figure it out when it comes to making money is sort of silly.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay, so next question. Will we still have a DeFi summer similar to last year? All right, DeFi summer. Okay, unfortunately, Bill, any last words before you have to leave?
Yes, I can answer this one. Yes, I think DeFi summer is August and September. As you heard from the stream, the question is, what kind of pain do you have to put up with in the meantime? But I think August and September are going to be a better day.
All right, and thank you, Bill. Take care. Bill has to go. Great having you as usual. Forrest, what do you think?
Yeah, so as far as summer goes, Bill's much better than me when it comes to time series stuff. I know we have big catalysts on the horizon with Ethereum, EIP 1559. This summer, we've got ETH 2.0 next year, early next year, hopefully. So I'm not going to put a time frame on it, but what I am going to say is that DeFi is unequivocally 100% the future of finance. It's here to stay. Institutions are getting involved. DeFi is a phenomenal place to have your money. It's a phenomenal place to be invested, and I'm very bullish on DeFi as a sector and as a narrative.
All right, thank you, Forrest. Yeah, I think it's tough to say because last year DeFi summer was basically in August, basically at the tail end of summer. So are we going to have that with Ethereum becoming ultrasound money? Possibly. I would say it's possible. I mean, I would lean towards it, but I'm probably more like 60%, just kind of guessing or guesstimating, because I'll be very surprised if it's exactly on August once again. If anything, I think maybe it might be later or maybe even earlier, but I would say probably more towards later. But I'm definitely bullish until end of the year. It's just a matter of when does the market bounce back, and then when does Ethereum really take off after becoming ultrasound money. But I think there will be some kind of lag. So if Ethereum EIP launches if the upgrade is in July, I'm looking probably more towards September when people really begin to FOMO in. But that's just kind of based on just me just guessing. All right, let us know what you think. When do you think DeFi summer will happen? Tell us below down in the comments. Okay, I think this was Alpha we answered. Okay, so let's wrap up with maybe this last question. Who do you consider as a few of the top investors in crypto that we may not be familiar with? Oh, wow. Okay, good question. Good question. Let's begin with Forrest. Who do you consider good investors in crypto that nobody knows of?
This is a tough one. What I would, I'll take this question in a little bit of a different direction and tell you who you shouldn't necessarily be paying attention to. Big influencers, right? Big influencers that say they just bought the latest meme coin or the latest token, or this, especially alarm bells should be ringing if they say, if you're not invested in this, or if you invest in this token, you will make XYZ, right? So definitely be wary of big influencers that make really bold claims. The other one is celebrity investors. There's a lot of celebrity investors that are not crypto experts. They're getting involved in crypto because they recognize the fact that crypto is big and crypto is the future, but they're not altcoin experts. They don't have the expertise that we do here at Tokenomics, and ultimately, a lot of them are somewhat late to the game. I'll just throw out a random celebrity investor. Kevin O'Leary just bought some Bitcoin. People seem to think that he's some sort of genius investor, but ultimately he doesn't have any crypto expertise or altcoin expertise. I think Ian was talking about taking a question on a webinar one time about Mark Cuban. Ultimately, we all beat Mark Cuban to the punch, and we also have a lot more altcoin expertise than Mark Cuban does. Is he a fantastic investor and business person? Absolutely. But if Mark Cuban is interested in some weird altcoin, I'd be wary. Elon Musk, again, be wary of these big names that don't necessarily have a ton of crypto expertise. Now, Mark Cuban, I do believe, bought Matic, but he bought it at 100x the price that Ian bought it at. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. So I'm not going to give you any specific investors, but just be wary of who you're paying attention to in the space, right? There's more bad ones out there than there are good ones.
Now, speaking of maybe YouTubers, any YouTubers you follow besides Tokenomics, of course, Forrest, or Stalkers?
I like Ben Cohen. I think he does a good job of especially looking at large altcoins. There's a few that he follows very, very closely. And he also keeps a very modest, low to medium risk profile. I think he does a really excellent job of that. So a shout out to Ben Cohen.
All right, great. Yeah, so actually, I also do like Ben Cohen. I would say in terms of YouTubers, the few I do watch, Ben Cohen, I do watch some of his videos. And also one is Crypto Bud. He's also, I would say, very rational, very logical. His channel is kind of growing as well. Those are two YouTubers I personally watch. Obviously Forrest as well, Crypto Stackers. Then in terms of investors, that one is tough. I mean, first of all, I don't watch or follow any of the large investors. I mean, so that comes from whether Mark Cuban, whether who's that guy, Michael Saylor, because they're large investors. I don't follow any billionaires because they're already billionaires. If you follow them, once you make $1 billion, your goal is just to save money. It's not to lose your billions, right? With us, we're trying to make $1 billion. So we're still in the weeds. We have a higher risk appetite. Once you're a billionaire, you're risk averse. You're not really looking to risk your billions, right? So I don't follow any of us. The investors I follow aren't really in crypto. So I follow Howard Marks. I've talked about him, his books, Mastering the Market Cycle. That is the best. Actually, no, that's a good book, but the most important thing by Howard Marks. That is my investing Bible. I literally am taking that same strategy, applying it towards crypto. And by definition, by being a fundamental investor or value investor, you have to not depend on anybody to invest. You have to be willing to invest based on your own research, right? So we do our own research and we had come to our own conclusions and invest based off of that, because you have to be willing to be the first check to invest. So if you're just FOMOing after what somebody else invested in, it's not really the best way to invest. So even other funds, I mean, the funds we do respect range from Multi-Million Capital, I would say A16Z, Union Square Ventures. But at the end of the day, we're not dependent on a fund to invest. We have to do our own research. That's why we launched Tokenomics, right? We think our research is on the same level as these funds. If anything, we like seeing projects that we get in before some of these funds, right? So for example, like Polygon or Helium, all these are projects. When we see other funds invest in and they're buying the top, that tells us, okay, our research was pretty good or good enough to be early before these funds even came in, right? So in terms of what investors do we like that are not well known, honestly, those are the few that come in mind, but we don't really follow other investors. Looking at the comments here, some people are shouting out some of the people they like. Somebody's saying Kevin Durant invested in Coinbase. I mean, okay, I guess maybe investors that I respect, or maybe I read their books, besides Howard Marks, Paul Graham, Y Combinator. I like his tweets, his essays, very, very knowledgeable. Not really crypto-based, but for VC investing. Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z, their books. But yeah, tell us what you think down below in the comments. So with that being said, this concludes the show, the live stream. Let's wrap things up. Forrest, any last words for our crypto family?
Yeah, this is actually how I closed out the webinar on Wednesday for our Tokenomics customers. But and we briefly touched on it earlier in the stream, but don't hibernate in a bear market, right? We talked about all the things that you can do to continue earning yield and making money and increasing your portfolio and stacking more crypto in a bear market. But that's also the time, the most optimal time for value investing. Like Ian said, that's when you find the 1000 X's, not the 100 X's. If you hibernate, if you become the bear and you hibernate in the bear market, you will regret it. If you hibernated in 2018 and 2019, after seeing a nasty 2017 crash, and then you didn't get back in until late 2020 or early 2021, you're probably regretting it. So I personally think that there is a strong correlation between the amount of time that you've been in crypto and the amount of money that you make. It's pretty straightforward and pretty obvious, but if you've been in crypto since 2014, 2015, 2016, you've made a lot of money. If you've been in crypto consistently, even if you bought the top in 2017, but you stayed in crypto consistently in 2018, 2019, 2020, and you were there for the bear market and you were investing and dollar cost averaging and finding good projects to invest in, then you've made a lot of money. So the same goes for what if you bought the top in 2021, if we have had the top, if you're in the market for 2022, 2023, 2024, and you're staying consistent in 2025, 2026, the amount of money that you'll have, not financial advice, is going to be staggering. So my final words would be, do not hibernate in a bear market if we do get a bear market.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. So actually, I have a comment here from Sana saying, we're talking about projects we've invested in over and over again. I mean, because they did 100x. I mean, and they're textbook examples of what to do in a bear market, right? We have covered ICP. We do have a code review on that, and it's also on the site, so you can check that out. But I mean, we're answering questions that our audience is asking, and if they want to talk about those products, that's what we cover, right? But basically, to echo what Forrest said, if you want to make real money, you have to be around in a bear market, because that's when you don't buy the top. I mean, that's when you buy low. So if you're away when people are buying low, you cannot rationally expect to make real life-changing money when you come in and you're buying the top, right? Because that's what a bull market is. It's a top, right? That's when the top is, right? So if you want to make real money, you have to be around when nobody's around. That's when you buy that's when you have steals. You find the next projects that will 100x, 1000x. And as Forrest mentioned, half of success is showing up. Right? I'm not sure who made that quote, but it's a famous quote, right? 50% of success is just showing up, just being present. Like, if you had a rational investment strategy where you were diversifying your portfolio into maybe 10 to 20 solid projects, whether products based on our analysis or your own rational analysis, and you've been in crypto for the last 4 years, it was very, very hard to lose money. Like, I mean, honestly, like, people who aren't even putting too much thoughts into this, if they're in crypto, they bought Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever, they've made money, right? Because half of success is just showing up. And right now we are still early in this game, right? So if you're gonna hibernate and you just go away because it's a bear market or crash, I mean, hopefully you've cashed out and you've made a killing and you know what you're doing. But if you didn't do that, then you definitely need to be around here when you're buying the bottle, right? Because that's when the real money is made. So either way, our team will be here for you through ups and downs, because we're believers long term, and we're here to take all of us to the moon and beyond. All right. So we want to continue that. Definitely check us out this coming week on Tokenomics TV. Daily videos, 7 days a week, rain or shine. We're here for you. And as we like to say, actually, that's the wrong one. But anyway, it's time to go out to anyway. All right. Crypto slowdown, no slowdown. We're here with you. We're going to the moon and beyond. So with that being said, the moon is not the limit to the moon and beyond. Thank you, crypto family. Thank you, Forrest. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Life-changing money to a point where you can buy your mom and dad a brand new house, right? You can pay off your college loans. You can invest in your future, not have to work again, pursue your dreams, your passion, not have to have a job, work that 9-to-5 grind, right? Break the system, hack the system. This is what this show is all about.
They said relax but never retire. Feeling detached, never inspired. They told me relax but I can't retire. I'm feeling detached, never inspired. Like I would live on but never alive. You know the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs and give on. They living a lie. Now here's the mission, die or decide. You would die. The corporate life is so redundant when your freedom isn't free. It comes to being someone, just believe that you can be. And how can I have hunger when they tell me when to eat? How can I lead others when they tell me who to meet? Then they tell me when to come and then they tell me when to leave. They say how much to give and then forget how much I need. It's the precious to succeed with the lessons of the greed. I question who to be and saw this message is in me. I gotta know.
Life-changing money.
I wanna work for myself, I gotta work for myself, I gotta go.
You can invest in your future,
Bring
not have to work
spirits to the
again.
moon, put nerves on the shelf, I gotta know.
Pursue your dreams, your passion.
I wanna stay free or want the safety, I gotta go.
Break the system, hack the system.
Although they paid me,
This is what the
they
show is
never
all
made
about.
me. I wanna relax, forever retire. I wanna detach, I'm feeling inspired. They told me relax, but I can't retire. I gotta detach, gotta decide. They got me thinking I would live on, but never rely. You know the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs and give on. They living a lie. Now here's the mission, die or decide. You would die now. Hey, I will never be a wage slave. I gotta stay made. Hey, I used to see this in the 8th grade. Wasn't a day late. Hey, I found the love that I was seeking, life that I'm leading. Now I can do this every weekend, cause I'm a free man. I was in Tokyo, riding the job wheel, the rodeo, dancing with the devil for payment. I couldn't do-si-do, but I was driven. The mission gave me an open road. Made a decision to whip him like it's a motor show. 6-figure slave, I was paid, wasn't well though. Heard of crypto underground, it became my railroad. Started making earnest money, it's for whom the bell tolls. Went from wishing for sales close to sales. Now I can relax, forever retire. Now I'm detached, forever inspired. Now I can relax, forever retire. I had to detach, had to decide. And now I'm thinking I can live on and not just survive. You know this system, AM till 5. They try to say a job to give on, they living a lie. I made a mission, die or decide. Do or die now, crypto retirement, yeah, that's where my mind went. Started thinking higher, now they can't hire my time spent. No, not retire like 65 when your job ends. More like an island, and if I'm by it, I buy it. Free travel, dealership, sweet dabble. I reign like Leeds Castle, you reign like Seattle. We went from sheep cattle to eating beef and mackerel at feast. No lassos, just beliefs me in a saddle. You gotta know.
Like life-changing, like
you wanna work for yourself, you gotta work for yourself, you gotta go.
not have to work again.
Raise spirits to the moon, put nerves on the shelf, you gotta know.
Pursue your dreams, your passion.
You wanna stay free or want the safety, you gotta go.
This is what the show is all about.
Although they paid you, they never made you. Now we can relax, forever retire. Now we detach, forever inspired. Now we can relax, forever retire. We had to detach, had to decide. And now we know that we can live on and not just survive. We left the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs to give on, they live in a lie. We made a mission, die or decide, do or die now.
I'm here to put you guys on and share all the different resources and tips I come across in my journey to making $1 million and making $1 billion, right? I'm trying to share this with the world for free. I'm not here to sell you some $2,000 course, ebook, webinar, whatever, right? I'm here to put you guys on the game for free, open source, right? The same model as blockchain, Bitcoin, or these cryptocurrencies. I'm here to share everything with you guys.
Tokenomics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at Tokenomics.com.